Good morning, everyone. My name is Qetsiyah, age 22. I'm a college student at St. John's University. I am a senior. I will be graduating in May 2022. My gender identity is Black trans woman, or you could say what people say now is Black woman of trans experience. My sexual orientation is heterosexual, and I'm happy to be here today.
Pronouns.
Well, my pronouns is she, her, hers.
Okay, so Qetsiyah, before you became trans, at what point did you decide that you were trans? So how did that start?
How can I say this? So, from the beginning of back when I was like around 5 or 6 years old, I was transition. Well, it was a transition. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, I was considered gay. I always knew I liked the boys from a very young age. However, when I got older and started hanging out with other girls and wanted to be more feminine and things I needed, that's when I started to, understand that I'm very more feminine than masculine. And it was not until I was like, well, 13, 14, probably 12-ish. That's when I started dabbling in the gay world. That's when I started, watching RuPaul Drag Race and watching RuPaul Drag Race because RuPaul was my portal to the gay world. And from then on out, I've been seeing other gay men and drag queens and things of that nature. So I thought I was a drag queen at first because I was so interested and fascinated by drag and makeup and things of that nature. And I start to realize is that, drag queens do too much for me. They do a lot, with the extreme makeup and things of that nature. I just wanted to be a pretty, pretty drag queen. So I started to ponder around, and I found this YouTuber named Angela Vanity, which before she started her transition, she would consider her name was Diamond Kane. And I was like, oh my god, she's pretty and she do drag. So I wanted to, have the courage to do that. But I never had the courage to, go to school and drag and things of that nature because I was didn't want to get bullied and I didn't want to, go through the discrimination from going through with my family and things of that nature. So I didn't want to go. I didn't want to do it. So I said, you know what? So when she keep talking, when I can't watch her YouTube videos, I kept seeing the fact that she was talking about transitioning and things of that nature, and I wanted to know what that was about. So I guess I was like I was like 13, 14 when I started going on YouTube and finding out transitioning. And I think she was talking about Maya Scott one time. And I found out who she was, and I found my identity. Because Amaya Scott was beautiful, and she was a whole woman, And even though she was trans, I still felt like she really was the gateway for me. Like she was everything, beauty. She was, like I wanted to be like her, and I knew right away I wanted to be trans. However, throughout the years, I never had the courage, neither did I have like the support system or the resources. Well, I didn't know about the resources that was given to young youth, especially me who was down low at the time. So I didn't know whether or not if I was gonna be able to successfully transition because I was too fearful of what people would say about me. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna just give this a rest for a while, but I still was interested in the gay world, especially when I was in middle school, elementary school, high school. People always see the femininity in me, and yes, I was being bullied and things of that nature, but I still continue to be myself and who I am. However, it was not until I was became like 19 that's when I came out officially during Pride 2019. That was what the when Stonewall happened. Yeah, so it was like the 50th anniversary of Stonewall. That's when I came out, went to my first pride with my friend Crystal, and that's when I went. Well, my best
And
friend
when you say
Crystal.
you came out as gay to your family
Yeah,
and friends.
I came out as gay, as to my family and friends, of course. After the pride, I got the courage because I was talking to myself prior. I was like, I can't live my life like this forever. So I just sat there and was like, I have to come out because I didn't want to be in my 50s and 60s, wasting so much precious time being something that I was not. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna come out as gay, and I did, and I got a lot of backlash from that. more from family instead of friends. A lot of friends of mine and some people, close cousins have reached out to me and gave me resources and things of that nature. But I feel like it was still something not fully, how can I say this? It wasn't fully complete as of yet. Until I start to realize and understand that I wasn't gay, I was trans. But I used to downplay it. I used to thought that I was gonna be like a very feminine gay boy, like who do makeup and hair, and dress up like that. But I wasn't that, and I started to realize it's like that's not me. I didn't want to just dress up in hair, makeup, and things of that nature. I wanted to be a full fledged woman. So so I was like, I'm not gonna be another Miss Lawrence. In my eyes, I wasn't gonna be another Miss Lawrence. That's why I thought I was gonna be another RuPaul or a feminine gay man like Billy Porter. And they all fabulous in their own way. And I do look up to them for their courage to be in gay black men. But I just knew it wasn't me. So I always thought about back when I was 13, 14 years old about Maya Sky in the ballroom community that I was introduced back in that time. I forgot to talk about that. And I was like, we could go back to when I was 13 and when I started talking about ballroom. And I was like, I didn't want to, and I was like, they were like, these are butch queens and these are femme queens. And I was like, I wanted to be a femme queen because the femme queen with the breasts and the hair and the titties and the body and everything like that, I wanted to be the woman. And they was like, no, you're the butch queen because you were still a man. And I did not like that. So that was another reason why I was saying I was trans. But to get back to the story now, back to when I was in college, back during the pandemic, I started to really explore my gender identity more. I bought my first bundles. I was so excited about that, baby. I was walking down the street feeling it. And like it was just everything for me. So me personally, it was just the fact that how can I say this? So me personally, it was just the fact that um when I started my I didn't really start my transition. I was more gender non-binary because I didn't really have my pronouns that fitted because I wasn't really fully for sure that I want to do it. Um, but that was the time when I first came around, the queer community. That's when I first found out about the center because my cousin told me about the center. Um, my cousin Peaches, shout out to her. She told me about the shelter, not like the shelter, the center. And that's when they have vogue classes. That's when I was like really starting to be introduced to ballroom little by little. And then after that, I was starting to get introduced to, how can I say this? Introduced to, um, besides the center, I was introduced to Cantaloupe, which was the LGBTQ clinic in the city. So before they had a Brooklyn location, I used to go to the Manhattan location in the HOT program. So I would talk to my doctor who was telling me about, basically he was telling me about hormones and things of that nature. So I was like, I want to do it so bad. I really, really wanted to do it. I really wanted to do it, but I was scared of the side effects of taking hormones. So that caused me to get, frantic about it. So it caused me to like delay it a bit and to continue with just, being who I was, just being regular gender non-binary. But I just knew gender non-binary deep down was not for me. So I didn't get the courage into transitioning into 2021 of June because I wanted to work out and have a feminine body and I didn't want to have a masculine body. And I knew for a fact that if I get on hormones, it would start to give me a more feminine body. So I said, okay, so let me get on this hormone. So I started taking the hormones. At first, I had the pills and the um, pill. I had the estrogen and I had the testosterone blockers. Both of them was the pills. So I said, okay, copy. So I took them and I started taking them religiously, and I started to see the changes little by little, like my sex drive started to drop, and things of that nature. The reason why I started taking them, of course, to get the full feminine look, but also because I wanted to be a woman, I wanted to be a girl. So I said, okay, so let me just start taking these pills and medication. But prior to that, I started getting onto them. I got them, even though I was scared. I still asked for them just in case of one of the days I was going to get on them. So luckily, I thought about that and I actually got them, but they were just sitting in my drawer for like a good couple months. And it was not until June 18th, 2021, that's when I started my transition. So
So you say your transition, which means you started taking your
Hormones.
hormones.
So yeah, so from June 18, 2021 to now, I started doing my transition.
So that is now been over.
It's about to be. It's been over 6 months now. So I've been. It's 7 months. Wow, time be flying, girl.
7 months.
7 months.
Of your
So
hormone treatment.
treatment. So there's a lot of changes that's been going on. You
So
know.
if you're taking hormones and now you're seeing any differences in your body, are you
Yeah.
seeing things happening?
Yeah. At first, when you start getting hormones, they tell you right off the bat that you're gonna go through mood swings. You definitely are gonna go through mood swings. One minute you're gonna be happy and sad. One time I went downstairs ready to knock everybody head off their shoulders. I swear to you, like everybody was just getting me mad. And next thing you know, I just be sitting on my bed, just start thinking about life and thinking about so many different things, and I start getting emotional. I'm like, here we go. So I'm just like, and it been like that for a little bit. You know, you get a lot more emotional and more intuitive with your emotional side. And me before then, I was never a crier. I was never that type of girl to just sit there and just start bawling. But I start to really become more emotional and more in tune with my femininity. And I feel like that's a good thing for me because I've been too much in my shell when it comes down to opening up to people due to the fact of trauma of, you know, being not neglected. I would say more of being abused and, you know, taken for granted. So I was just like one of those people that
When you say abuse, you mean by past friends?
By past friends, family, things of that nature. You know, I thought that me coming out alone was just gonna be I would be by myself. So
but thank God that didn't happen.
Right, thank God it didn't happen, of course. But it felt like I was alone. It really did. Because it's like nobody understood me. I was around other cisgender heterosexuals. I didn't have other trans friends.
Wait, can you repeat what you were around?
Other cisgender heterosexuals. Cisgender heterosexuals are people who was born with the gender that they identify now. So if you, for example, if you were born a male, you became a boy, and now you're a man, and you identify with that. Heterosexual means you're straight. So to clarify what that means, so that's what was the whole experience said for me personally. Is I can't really speak for every other trans woman. That's a disclaimer. Just because I'm part of the trans community doesn't mean that I can speak for all of them. So that's a huge disclaimer. I don't want you to y'all to go back and be like, you know, this trans woman Qetsiyah said this, and no, every trans woman is different. They're gonna tell you something completely different. But this is my experience from the 7 months I've been here. I've been doing this. So you know, I do be seeing changes. Of course, the breasts start to
Which
develop.
is the physical changes.
The physical changes is the breasts. Baby, it's the breasts. And then my breasts start growing a little bit by little. You definitely gonna get soreness in your nipples. It's gonna itch you. Most definitely is. Child. Besides the emotional factor,
do you feel your appetite changed or anything like that?
No, my appetite. I haven't gotten hungry. My gay mother, my gay mother Tia, she told me, she was like, you're gonna start gaining weight soon. After a year, you're gonna start gaining weight. You're gonna start, you know, getting hungry. I haven't been getting hungry lately. I just been overeating because I've been, you know, constant anxiety and stress. And that's another thing too. When you're going through hormones, and since you're becoming more emotional available, or emotional intelligent, you have to understand that. Well, I can say more in tune to your emotions. That's a better way to say it. I feel like when you are taking hormones, stuff like that, your anxiety and depression is going to hit you on a whole different level, because you're going to really start to understand and see things from a different perspective, and see things and you're going to take things much more personal, in my personal opinion. But you're going to become more of a person that's going to sit there. Well, I can't really say for everybody, every transition. But for me personally, I'm going to say that for me personally, that's how I was. And also, I became more outspoken and became more in tune with my femininity and being more in tune with who I am and things of that nature. And I started to realize it's like, I am that girl. So it's just like, you know, that's just me. But that's just how I see it. Also, another thing the doctors always tell you to do is to take care of your body. Because at the end of the day, you can't be eating fast food and stuff like that, because that do messes with them. That doesn't really. My doctor never told me it messes with your hormone, but it's good to take care of your body due to the fact that it could how can I say this? It helps with your transition. It helps with the hormones, you know, settle into your body easier, things of that nature. Another tip that my doctor did tell me about taking hormones is to always make sure you keep a log of what changes you've been seeing. Like if you start seeing your breast move, your breast growth, write it down. If you start seeing little changes, write it down. Be aware of the side effects because people don't talk about them like that. Some people, what their side effect is that sometimes they might start getting drips out of the breast. Um,
It might start getting.
Drips out their breast, like
It might start leaking.
like discharge coming out their breast.
Okay.
So that's something you gotta pay attention to. When you on hormone, people don't talk about how you can get a tumor. It's not a cancerous tumor, thank God it's not, but it's more of a tumor that can actually like grow in your head and cause you to have issues talking and stuff like that. So be mindful of that. Um, Also, and just most importantly, when you start doing your transition, take your time because there's really no rush. Take your time because you really have to understand these hormones are drugs, and you don't want to keep forcing it on yourself, and then all of a sudden your body don't react to it the same way. Make sure you get tested from your kidneys to make sure your kidneys are receiving it well because your hormones do have an effect on it. Make sure that you're drinking and smoking little to no because people don't realize when you're drinking on hormones, it increases your rate of getting blood clots, which is a side effect of having hormones. Smoking, they said that it causes cardiac, not cardiac arrest, but cardiovascular problems. So be mindful of that as well. So yeah, those are a couple of tips I have for the girls who want to be the girls. So
So,
yeah.
is there anyone that you think shouldn't take hormones if they're saying or identify as trans?
Me personally, like I said before, me personally, I feel like if you're a person who have kidney problems, definitely talk to your doctor about it and
So,
see
you
what
think
about it.
people who have health issues
Issues,
should
yeah.
definitely be aware of that and not necessarily go through transitioning?
Is no, you can transition without the hormones. That's another thing you need to think about as well. You can transition without the hormones, but if you want to get on hormones, talk to your doctor first. If you have any type of kidney issues or liver problems or any other type of underlying conditions that can have an impact on the hormones, make sure of that. So talk to them about that. You don't have to. Anybody can transition. You don't have to.
Anybody could. So,
Anybody.
what if someone says, I'm a boy who likes to wear dresses, and they said, I think I want to transition? Do you think that's a good candidate?
I wouldn't say it's a good candidate because you also gotta say it's a more of a mental type of thing. That's what people don't really talk about when it comes down to transitioning. It's not just you want to be, because I feel like I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people think that a lot of people who transition, some of them are actually want to be boys who just feel like they're girls because when they put on a dress and things of that nature. But you have to understand when you get on these hormones and go through life as trans, it's a whole different ball game than just dressing up in hair and makeup. Because you really have to understand your body is altering. The way how people treat you is going to start changing. So be mindful of that. And not to go off of your question, it's just that make sure you go to therapy first. That's the main thing you gotta talk to your therapist for, is to make sure that he or she or they give you the okay to sit there and say, you know what, this individual go through gender dysphoria, which is the main reason why a lot of people transition. Gender dysphoria is basically saying, um, how can I say this in simple terms? Gender dysphoria is basically feeling like your gender identity that you was born with, that you was born with, you don't necessarily agree with. You don't really identify with the gender that you were born as. So
So it can go either way. If a male is born into a female's body, they may feel like they were born the wrong sex.
right,
Basically, that's what you're meaning by
gender dysphoria.
breaking up, saying this is not the person I was supposed to
Right.
be. So it's what is between your legs, not necessarily defining what you feel.
On the inside, exactly. So be mindful of that. That's like I said before, is go get therapy. Make sure you go. That's the main thing. Especially, I understand everybody can't afford it, but like places like the Center, Cannon Lord. If you in New York City, of course, the Center, Cannon Lord, they give you free mental services. Make sure you take advantage of that and talk to a therapist before you even take the first step into doing your transition to make sure this is something you want to do. Because you have to understand, when you start transitioning, your life really do changes. Don't get me wrong, when I first came out as gay, my life changed. But when you become transgender, it's a whole different ball game.
So speaking of transgender being a whole nother ball game, I see you wearing a ring.
I'm not married.
Okay, so we're about to get into part 2, so stay tuned if you're enjoying the conversation.
Right.
Peace.